Hey guys, insight number 5, last Sunday of the week. So we're still in John chapter 4, and we're going to look at verses 31 through 38. So this is directly after the woman at the well incident of Jesus talking to her, and we want to know more about that or listen to my thoughts on that. That's insight number 4, so go do that. But the beginning of this, well, actually just before 31, so 28, she goes to... the woman leaves her water pot and basically goes into the city and says to everybody there, "Come see a man which told me all things that I ever did. Is not this the Christ?" So she goes about testifying that this is Christ and actually brings a lot of people to him. And then went out of the city and came unto him. Then they all came out of the city and came to him. But in the meanwhile, this is what it says, in the meanwhile, and these days we say in the meantime. So in verse 31, in the meantime, his disciples prayed him, saying, "Master, eat." But he said unto them, "I have meat to eat that ye know not of." Now, it comes in here where they actually see him talking to her. Oh, yeah, in verse 27. This is really funny. "And upon this came his disciples," he's talking, "and he talked with the woman, yet no man said, What seekest thou? Why talkest thou with her?" So they thought about it and sort of went, why is he talking to her? Doesn't he know who she is? This is not a good look, But they never actually said anything to Christ, but they had those thoughts themselves. They had those judgments. But in the meanwhile, his disciples, she's going to teach him and going to teach the people where she's from and bring them out of the city to talk to Christ, which happens. And you can read that as you go down. He actually preaches to them all. But they're like, "Master, here, we've got your lunch, you need to eat." And he's like, he says in verse 32, he said unto them, "I have meat to eat that ye know not of." And they're like confused again, like Nicodemus was when he talks like this. And they're like, "Did someone else bring you something to eat?" This is in 33. "Hath any man brought him aught to eat?" Like, did someone else feed you already? And Jesus saying to them, "My meat is to do the will of him that sent me and finish his work." So Jesus then goes on to explain to live in yet, and then live now. So don't live in yet, live in now. Live in already. So he says in there, say ye not, there are yet 4 months, and then the harvest comes, because you can tell looking at the fields there where they would have been, you can tell that, about 4 months from now, if you're familiar with the area, you know that given the weather, given our climate, looking at the crops, about 4 months from now, they're ready to harvest. But he says, "I actually say to you, they're all ready to harvest." And he's not talking about the fields, he's talking about the people at this point. "And he that reapeth receiveth wages, and gathereth fruit of eternal life. You reap the joy." This is of bringing someone unto the gospel. And here and to say that saying true, one soweth and another reapeth. So if you're going to go out and sow the seed, someone else is going to reap the benefits there. "I sent you to reap that whereon you bestowed no labour, other men laboured, and ye entered into their labours." So which makes it like, okay, so now I want you to actually go teach these people. There's bigger things than just lunch here. And yeah, I do need to be nourished, and I know that, and we'll eat that, but get the bigger lesson here. It isn't just about walking around talking to the individual people and having lunch and healing a few here and there. It is a much bigger purpose that I am trying to prepare you for and to teach you for. So the Samaritans come out and do all of that. So Jesus has a very different idea who is worthy and who all of this is. And in verse 21, he calls her woman. And again, this is a big sign of respect in that time. He calls his mother woman. And it's a sign of respect. And it's become in this day and age almost an insult, which is kind of sad because the respect that Jesus has, and as does Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, for woman is huge. And so to call, if someone from that time called you woman, it would be very respectful. So there you go. So let's talk about this. So while Jesus was having the conversation with the woman at the well, his disciples had gone to procure a lunch. They saw him talking to her and discussed amongst themselves, sort of a little like, you know how you discuss something without actually saying words, you just give a look and the other person's like, uh-huh. You know, like, if you're hanging around with each other enough time and you know each other well, you can do that. And they saw him talking to her and discussed this, and why would he be talking to this woman? Like, why? And none spoke this to Christ himself, although undoubtedly he knew what they were thinking, because he can do that. It's just what he does, right? So then, refusing the lunch, Jesus teaches that lunch can wait. Lunch can wait. Look at this bigger thing happening as this woman preaches and testifies of Christ to those who have despised her. And then they all come out, as I said, they all come out and they come to meet Christ. And he teaches them, in the rest of the chapter you can read, he teaches them. And actually a lot of Samaritans believe on him and convert to Christianity, which is pretty cool. Convert to his gospel and start changing their ways. It's really cool. From just this one woman going down and being able to say that. And, they're thinking, well, if he talks to her, then, wow, someone we should pay attention to. Let's go check this out. So, pretty cool. But he is saying here, this is what he's saying when he says these things. Look and live in the now. Live today, live already. Like, do we miss the life of today waiting on a change that may or may not happen? Like, are we waiting 4 months for a harvest because we're told that's when it's supposed to happen? Or a lot of people that I know, and don't know, I guess, but I've just seen in my experience, people say, oh, if I could just get a better job, then I'd be better off. Or if I could just get a nicer car, I'd be happy. Or if I could just this. Or I'll wait till that happens and then this will be okay. It's like, I'll be happy once I have children. It's like, well, you might not ever have children. Like, I never had children, and yet I've had a very rich life, and I've been happy many times over. And would children have made me happy? Maybe. They might have driven me completely insane as well. I don't know. So you can't live on that, what might happen. Or if I'll just wait till that happens and then I'll change. No, live now. Live right today. Because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You don't even know what this afternoon's going to bring. It's still morning here, by the way. I don't know what this afternoon's going to bring. I've got an idea, and I'm probably mostly right, but I don't know exactly. Who knows? I don't. Jesus does. He's saying, live now, enjoy now, preach the gospel now, share your testimony now, enjoy the ice cream if you can now. I can't eat it anymore because of the sugar. But whatever you do it today. Live it today. Be present. Live in this. Do we miss miracles because lunch arrived? And we're like, oh, lunch, and we lose the miracle. This is about being present and finding joyful living right now. He's trying to teach them that, the sandwich or whatever you bought me can wait. The fish and the bread that you bought me, that can wait. Like, it'll be good in an hour from now. But right now, look at what's happening here. Because this is pretty miraculous. This is amazingly awesome. And these people are going to come out and want us to teach them. And the food I've got, I can eat that afterwards. It's okay. But there's a bigger picture. And yeah, it's important to nourish ourselves. I'm not saying that because he did take care of himself. But he was trying to teach them that it was about something bigger than just one person. Although it is also the one person, don't get me wrong. But it is a bigger thing that was happening. And just in the meanwhile, it was just one of those things, those teaching moments where he shows his character and his nature and kindness and teaching his disciples to be better, to look for miracles, to appreciate what is happening in the moment rather than looking forward, like futurely, of that, we'll just wait for that, we'll wait for that and it'll be all right. No, live today, enjoy today, find the good today. As President Nelson says, that gets quoted so many times, the joy in our life has very little to do with the circumstances and everything to do with our choices and our attitudes around what's happening. And that's not verbatim quoting, but that's what he means. It's like, it's not to do, our circumstances could be terrible and we could still find joy. It doesn't mean we're happy, doesn't mean everything's perfect, but like Nephi, said as well. We live after the manner of happiness. We live today. We enjoy today and the good things that come today, because there are good things and we can find them and we can live today in just awesomeness. President Thomas S. Monson, when he was alive, said, "Time is a gift, a treasure not to be put aside for the future, but to be used wisely in the present." Very true, because you cannot claim back time. Once it's gone, it's gone. Time is a gift, a treasure not to be put aside for the future. No. It's to be used wisely right now. Do it now. Do it today. Don't think, oh yeah, I'll be better if I, once I do this, whatever, then I'll have time to go to the temple. No, make time now. Oh, if I just get that, then I'll have time to read scriptures. No. Make time to read scriptures first. Look at the more important, the bigger things that are happening. And you figure out how you can do all those together. And what can you drop off? What do you not need? There's a lot of things in there. But I just like that in the meantime. Like in the meanwhile, all of this is unfolding. And he's teaching his disciples to become and to be better. And that's what he does for us too. So pause and think. Live now. Today. Right. Okay. Well, that's my thoughts for this week. And again, it's gone way over time. And c'est la vie. But, sorry, a bit of phlegm. I really hope you've enjoyed these chapters this week. I love the way John writes. It's often because I read it and I'm like, what does that mean? Because it's not so straightforward. That's one of the reasons I like it, which a lot of people are put off by, but that's one of the reasons I like it. So like, oh, I've got to figure this out. And in figuring it out, I learn it. And it sticks with me, and I love it, which is why I love the Nicodemus story and why I really appreciate the woman at the well story, or account, because they're true. It's not fiction. It's non-fiction. It is completely true. So they're accounts, not so much stories. But anyway, so hope you got something from that. I really would love you to share anything that you've learned or that you liked. Just drop comments, whatever, likes. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not all about sharesies or anything. I just want you to be able to feel something from this week's Come Follow Me and to be inspired and uplifted by that, because that's the point. Just to bring some goodness into your life. All right. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. There is a lot going on around the world, so just keep praying, be careful, and know, as Sister Beck said, Jesus will look after you. There you go. All right. See you guys. Love ya. Mwah.